There's a cold start injector for the cold start issue, which is right here. There's power to it. From what I've read, could be wrong, but I read a bunch of stuff, is this 4-pin right here goes to the computer, and it gives information that the engine's cold, and the computer sends a signal to open this thing up and squirt gas in there. Okay, so if your sensor is bad here, that could be an issue with the cold start. Another thing is the valve itself, and these things are freaking expensive too, brand new, crazy. From what I've read is you can first take this electrical connector off, jumper some wires in there, you know. I think it says it's 12 volts, should get 12 volts. It's like just a split second. It activates it so that it squirts, and see if you're getting the 12 volt when you go to start it and cold start. You got 12 volts there. Then you pull this injector out, looks like 2 Allens right there, or whatever they are. And you pull that injector out, and supposedly if you can find like a little jar, somebody said you can use a condom, which sounds pretty good. You put the injector in a jar, and you go and you just try to start it just a little tiny bit and not even get the engine going, and come out and see if any gas is in that jar, and it shows you that this thing is working. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna try that. There's not too much room, man. This pipe seems to be going over here. I'd have to probably loosen one of them there just to get this line to be accessible to put a jar in there. And it is a fire hazard, so beware. Okay, next. Okay, here we are under the SL. Right here is your 4-pin connector or sensor, and there's the plug for it, and there's one over here, smaller one, and that's for a different function. Then there's another one over right under here, and that is for the gauge. It's just a single pin. It's for the gauge in a cluster, you know. This one, I think it's got something to do with possibly the air conditioning, the auxiliary fan, either stage 1 or stage 2. Not 100%, but at least on a 300E, I believe that's what it was for. So so the way that you test these is you kind of move everything aside, and I have this on ohms, and this is auto ranging, right? So it's kind of hard to hold one-handed. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can. So that's 2.6, right? They're both about that. So I'm just taking my notes. So you just go across, one lead here, 2.6 on both of them, which I believe is okay when the engine is cold, the coolant is cold. The resistors inside, I think there's 2 resistors in there. I don't know, they might be thermistors, not sure, but I know they're resistors. When the coolant engine is cold, the ohms on it are down. When it heats up, the ohms will go up. And that tells you that the thing is working all right. At least I'm getting something which is correct. So I highly doubt that this is bad, but anyways, that's where you test it. On to the next thing. Alrighty. Let's give this a shot. For some reason, it's hard to do with one hand. It's like chopsticks. So it's about a 3-2-0 point. Yeah. So you see it went up. Before it was just a 2.6, 320. This one's 317. So the resistance goes up, the numbers go up like it's supposed to. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that coolant temperature sensor. If it wasn't doing anything, I'd just say yes. So the next step is we'll investigate this cold start valve. Maybe that's it. It might be gummed up. This car sat for, I mean, the owner, previous original owner said, oh, I started it every month and drove it around the block. But who knows, you know, in 1991, it could have sat for a long time without being used, and maybe they're varnish in the injector. I don't know, maybe it might be able to be cleaned out, but we'll test voltage right here, and being that the engine is warm right now, I can't really do that. I'm gonna have to wait for it to be cold. Put that back on there. Put this back on here if I can. Yeah, like that. Okay, so we'll wait till morning. Okay, so I'm gonna test to see if this has 12 volts. This is the cold start injector electrical line. It goes right to the injector right there, right here. So I just put a couple pieces of wire in there, some jumpers, set it on 20 volts DC. And let's see what happens. I'm not gonna start it, I'm just gonna turn it on. Okay, awesome. So we got power feeding that thing. One less thing I gotta deal with. So there's power. Good. So is there fuel? So the next step is, I guess, we have to verify that this is putting out fuel. So it looks like there's one, or hold on, I got it all zoomed in and zoomed out and there. So looks like there's 1, 2, and that pulls out of there. I guess I could crack this so it's easier to deal with. This fuel line looks like it's going up, 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 up. This is the cold start input right there. I could loosen that up so maybe I can drag that thing out of there and then put that thing in a jar. Okay, now check this out. Both of these were loose. Look at that. Both of these were finger loose. Could that have something to do with it? It's funny, you think you'd smell gas, but they were both finger loose. I didn't even have to Use a wrench. Good grief. Okay, we're gonna give this a shot. I've got fuel injector electrical hooked up. Should be setting 12 volts to that. Cold start valve, and it should get some gas. We'll see. You know, I don't see any gas in it. Kind of weird that it wouldn't fire over. I still have all the coils and everything connected. All right, keep testing. Okay, here's one more thing. Well, you got everything off. And if you want to check your EHA valve to see if it's good on the inside, this one's not leaking at all. But I found a little bit of tidbit on information. If you just ohm it out, just these two, where's the camera? Right here, these two connections right here. You pull the electrical plug, you squeeze it, pull out. Then you test it on an ohm scale. This one's auto ranging, and it ohmed out at 20. And then let's see, the resistance should be 18 to 21. Yeah, 18, 21 ohms. So that tells you that there's like this huge kind of coil and magnets and stuff in there that tells you that it's still good on the inside. So yeah, the resistance here, I got 20. And the cold start valve, you can ohm it out. It should be 10 to 25 ohms. I got 10.2. So the electrical part inside is good. What I think is happening, because it's not spraying, I'm getting voltage to it, and there's fuel coming from the fuel distributor into that cold start injector. I think that whatever causes it to open, maybe it's like a Schrader valve, who knows? I'll have to look into that. It's probably all gummed up in there with varnish, gasoline varnish from the car sitting, you know, because it's never worked since I've had it. And I've had this, 8 or 9 years. It's never started on the cold stuff, but now it just, boom, you know, it fires up. Okay, once it's warmed, it just fires right up. But when it's cold, you know, not super cold, just like tomorrow morning, you go to start it on the first one, it's going to crank, 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 crank. You could do it for 30 seconds. It'll eventually start, but I don't want to wear out the starter doing that. So you can see I just turned the key once, twice, 3 times. For some reason that builds up a whole lot of pressure or something. And okay, testing the cold start valve, running some more tests on it. Being that they're so expensive, $425 for a new one for this car. So what I have, just testing it electrically first, is I have it hooked up to this 12-volt battery right here, positive and negative. You should be able to hear it click. I'm going to just tap this. Just tap it. Listen to it. All right, you hear that? So that means that it's activating. Now I'm waiting for, should arrive today, some carburetor cleaner. It's Chem Tool, and it's a liquid. It's not a spray, because if I need to soak this overnight, So while I wait for this carburetor fluid to arrive over the last several days, I've been searching for cold start valve issues, questions. All right, so we're working on my 1991 500 SL with an M119 V8. It's a CIS Jetronic system. KE Jetronic. So you type in cold start valve. You just type that in a search into Ben's World. There are 25 pages of people having questions. Okay, so a lot of these have the same type of system. Some of these people are complaining about, they think it's their cold start valve, but when they start it starts, then it revs super high on its own, and then it backfires. That's not a cold start valve issue. That's something else going on with their car. But most of these, can the cold start valve be tested when it's not installed in the car? Cold start valve not working, blah, 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 blah. And every page, there's 25 pages of this stuff, all right? So these is W124, E-Class, R107, W126. And these are mostly, I don't know if the earlier systems had issues before the kind of system I have. There's a lot of posts on that, but most of these are okay. Here, 1991, cold start valve help. Okay, I mean, there's all kinds of crap. So what I've asked in several of these forums is, when's it supposed to work? When's that cold start supposed to prime? And I get a lot of different answers. A lot of different answers. Some say that that cold start valve only activates when the temperature is really, really, really super cold outside. Like below 30 degrees Fahrenheit, below 0 Fahrenheit. And then there's others that say, at about 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Others say anything below 100 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It makes zero sense. So, and then there's people that say, I'd be curious to know what temperature that thing's supposed to kick in, because I can't find an answer for it. I've searched everywhere, and I get multiple, answers on the temperature. I wish I had like the factory, if it just shows it, a Mercedes-Benz factory technical, this is it, this is when it's supposed to do it on this model car or whatever. I don't know. People say, well, where you live in Southern California, you'll never need it. You might as well just cap off that cold start valve. It's not going to work because of the temperature. It's not cold enough. It was like 35 degrees Fahrenheit today, this morning. This is instructions I found on the internet, a PDF, and this is a testing start valve actuation, and looks like a M103, same engine that's in the 300E, the 92, and what they have, my mouse froze, so I'm going to use the arrows. They have these special diagnostic tools, which we don't seem to have, right? But I don't think you really need those. So we can have a tester, we can have a multimeter. Starting voltage, minimum 10 volt for 5 seconds. I guess that must be the voltage for the cold start valve. And I had like, I don't know, it was like 11 point something volts, which is fine. Electric one between starting valve, fuel pump relay test. So this is testing continuity. Voltage at pump or fuel pump relay and engine systems control unit. Tells you where to test for that. And then you've got these other tools. Lambda tester, ignition, coolant temperature sensor, coupling, all this stuff, and sort of symbols and what it means. Always gives me a headache to look at this, all this stuff, but test condition, you should have a battery. Your battery should be between 11 and 14 volts. So they give you these test steps. One of starting valve valve actuation, test connection would be at Y8, wherever that is. I don't have the. Did it show Y8 up here? No, I don't think it did. No. So see, I need another page. Be nice to have all this information. Operation. So they say connect the ohm decade into circuit at coolant temperature sensor. Blah blah blah. So they're simulating. They're simulating something, and I imagine they're just trying to fool the system by putting a resistor in there to tell the computer it's just really cold or something, and then they give you the possible remedy, and then it just keeps going and going and going. All these different tests, open circuit and wiring, and most of it. So I guess you're testing all the wiring for the system. Let's see, there's another picture of that connection for that coolant temperature sensor, and it's basically the same, 3 and 4 ground. So okay, here's another idea. Pretty sketchy, but it works. So I've got just an 18 volt battery from like my drill motor, and then I just got 2 leads, right? So I get the voltage to it, and just tap it just gently just to open it. Then I put in that rubber hose there with heat shrink and reduced it down to with heat shrink and smaller tubing, and then just a straw that goes into the carb cleaner. And I'm going to use the pressure that's in this to kind of act like the pressurized fuel system in the car and get it to spray. Okay, so let me get it zoomed in here. I'll show you. I got it to spray nice and clean, which is nice. Get this 100-year-old tripod to cooperate. Let's see how far I can zoom in there. Come on, baby, you can do it. Okay, I think it's a go. I'll try not to get in the way too much. So I'll just get this on the can. Come on. I don't know if you can see, but... And then I just touch the leads together just gently and spray at the same time. Did you hear it? Whew. I didn't even let it soak overnight, so we can see that thing sprayed just perfect. Perfect. Okay, testing grounds for this coolant temperature sensor. Let's see if I can get it. I got it right here, so let's see if I can do this. So 3 and 4 are grounds. One goes to EZL and the other one is the fuel fuel module, or KE injection. So let's see if I can do this. Gosh darn it. I need to be able to get this phone to hold still. How's that? So there's 3, and I take and ground the other one. Okay, so I have continuity there. Where's 4? Hard to read it, geez. Okay, so I have ground on those 2. They're supposed to be ground. This is not ground here. And this is not ground here. Okay, good. So I know that the wiring for that is good. Okay, so next day I'm gonna keep working on it. So I just thought of something. Maybe I'm chasing my tail with this whole thing, but everywhere when I post to ask questions, they said, check your cold start valve, check it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm ruling it out. So we know that it sprays over on the test bench. Now, I was going, since the engine won't start because it was open to the atmosphere because I took it out, so I built this little plate out of a piece of copper and just a cardboard gasket to seal that off, because it makes sense if, well, we'll see. It makes sense that's why the injectors weren't firing. So I'm going to try it like this and put the jar in there, put it in the jar. And I'm also going to try to attach a voltmeter to the electrical as I'm cranking it to see what the electrical is doing. I think it's supposed to pulse super, super fast, the electrical, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, so the engine will probably start with this, which is okay. If it fires off, we'll see. Okay, we're gonna give it a shot. Got the electrical hooked up, the fuel lines hooked up. Probably we'll have to turn the key a couple times to pressurize the system just so that it has pressure. Oh, started. I don't see any fuel, but it sure started better. I did not see any fuel spray out of that. And it's another day. And it is nice and sunny. The temperature is 79 Fahrenheit, so I don't think the cold start valve will even work in this, but I want to see, I've got the ohm meter hooked up. I made a jumper, got ohm meter leads here. So there's a jumper from the electrical connector. I just want to see what the 12 volts is doing. And let's see, this would be the first start of the day. So usually, I mean, it doesn't matter if it could be 90 degrees outside. I mean, I was having where I had to do a lot of cranking even then, so who knows. Let's see. First, let's see if I got the voltage right. What is that noise? That was pretty weird. Had this ringing sound when I had the voltage hooked up. Weird. I disconnected that electrical. There was something to do with the way I had it wired. Huh. Let's see how it starts. See, it still cranks. Pretty weird. Okay. What if I fried something? I hope not. It was coming from over there. It could have been an over voltage protection relay. I'll have to check that out. Got one of these 10 amps blue. First one's okay. So I'm gonna replace that. That was weird. Yeah, it's burnt. Well, we'll try it again. It's so weird. That was so weird. Wow. Started first shot there. Okay. You know what I bet you it is? After all this testing, I bet you it's the air cleaners. I mean, they don't look horribly dirty or anything. It's just the only thing I can think that's different here is there's no air cleaner. It's getting more air. Can you see light through it? Good God. You can see a little bit of light, but I mean, they're not even dirty. Not even dirty. Is that bizarre? So I'm abandoning this cold start valve. It fired pretty good. So we're about 73 Fahrenheit. Huh. Totally bizarre. I bet you it's something to do with this, with the air coming into the distributor. These are the air ducts. It gets air from right in there. It just goes through those tubes. And it's a pretty good seal, but I don't know. I've never chained these. I don't know if these are original. They have no name on them. No way. It does say Mercedes-Benz. going to try, we'll try starting at, I'm going to put it all back together. I don't want to mess anything up. I don't know why I blew a fuse there. Okie dokie.